Now at 4, an ex-police officer stands trial, accused of shooting and killing a suspected shoplifter. We're in Fairfax County with what we're learning during opening statements.
Myself, I'm sick. I'm moving, but I'm sick.
Plus, a tire shop employee gunned down in his own workplace. This afternoon, we're hearing from one of the victim's co-workers. Then, University of Maryland sued for canceling a planned vigil for Gaza. Students react as the school defends its decision.
This coastal storm system will gradually push away from the DMV. We'll let you know when clouds and rainfall should start to break up.
And a game changer for travelers on a budget. The newest airline coming to one of our local airports.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
And thank you for joining us for DC News Now. I'm Mark Hall.
And I'm Annalisa Gale. Well, it has been a gloomy one out here on this Wednesday here in the DMV. This is a live look outside at Roslyn, but it looks a lot better.
Annalisa, we could still use a little bit of sunshine. Let's head over now to meteorologist Damon Matson with a first look at our forecast.
Hey, Damon.
Hey, guys, no doubt. You just summed it up perfectly. We have not been catching much of a break this week. No sunshine. We had a lot of that over the last couple of weeks, so I guess we're making up here for that change of pace. The clouds and the rain continue across much of the DMV, but compared to earlier this morning, we are certainly seeing less rainfall overall across the entire area. Other than some light pockets of drizzle here and there, it's drying out west of I-95, including in the DC metro area. The only area of some steadier rainfall is now down across southern Maryland, mostly locations east of I-95, seeing what's left of this activity over towards St. Charles, La Plata, Mechanicsville, Lexington Park. These are darker greens and yellows, indicating that slightly heavier rainfall that does continue across portions of southern Maryland. But even that will be coming to an end here rather shortly over the next few hours. So outside of this very scattered rain shower activity, things will begin to quiet down and dry out for the most part as we go later on into the night, to the point that by midnight we're not worried about any additional rainfall. But we are still going to see quite a bit of cloud cover. Could we finally bring back some sunshine as we head into the day on Thursday? We'll have a look at your full forecast coming up here in just a bit.
Thank you. Well, right now in Fairfax County, the first day of trial is wrapping up for a former police officer facing involuntary manslaughter charges.
Former Sergeant Wesley Shiflett is accused in the deadly shooting of a man who allegedly ran away from police after stealing sunglasses from Tyson's Corner Center last year. DC News Now's Randy Bass was there as the jury selection was finalized. Both sides presented opening arguments today. Randy.
Yes, earlier today, the defense in this case told jurors to look at this case from the eyes of former Fairfax County Police Sergeant Wesley Shiflett, saying he only had moments to decide whether to fire back on that day in February of last year. The defense also today, both sides rather, saying the victim in this shooting, Timothy Johnson, had tried to steal sunglasses from Nordstrom when store employees noticed him and reported him to police who were stationed in the mall. When he walked out of the store, security alarms went off. He walked out before eventually starting to run, with officers trailing behind him. Both defense lawyers and prosecutors say he ran into a wooded area, followed by Sergeant Shiflett and another officer who told him to get on the ground. The defense describes what happened next as the scariest moment of the sergeant's life, saying Johnson tumbled to the ground, rolled onto his knees, reached into his waistband as if to pull out a weapon. That's when Shiflett decided to fire twice, one of those bullets hitting Johnson in the chest. The second officer, though, wasn't far away. He saw them both on the ground, fired a third shot that missed. But Timothy Johnson didn't have a gun on him, and he died of that gunshot wound. The defense says Shiflett only did what he was trained to do as a Fairfax County police officer of 7 years. Now, when I stepped out of the courtroom, those first opening statements had concluded, and we had started to hear the first round of testimony from witnesses in the case. The first few statements we heard from witnesses were employees who were at the Nordstrom store that day. Again, the jury seated today, that was finalized. 10 women and 4 men, 2 of which will become alternates at the end of this when this is all said and done. Those first few witnesses that we're seeing testify here in the case, that will continue into the early evening hours today before things pick back up again tomorrow morning. In Fairfax, I'm Randy Bass, DC News Now.
Brandy, thank you. Just in this afternoon, the Federal Reserve is lowering interest rates to a half point. The key rate is around 4.8%, down from 5.3. This is the first time in more than 4 years that interest rates have declined. We're going to have more details coming up in our next half hour.
Also new at 4, the U.S. Justice Department is now suing the owner and manager of a cargo ship that caused the Baltimore Bridge to collapse. Now, that lawsuit filed in Maryland is seeking to recover more than $100 million that the government spent to clear the debris and reopen the port. The DOJ alleging that the electrical and mechanical systems on the Dolly ship were not properly maintained, causing that ship to veer off course and strike the bridge in March.
Catastrophe was entirely avoidable. We allege that the Dolly's owner and operator recklessly cut corners in ways that risked lives and the economic well-being of the nation.
Now, a spokesperson for the ship owner, Grace Ocean, said the owner and manager has no comment at this time, but they look forward to their day in court to set the record straight.
Now to the district where 2 people are wanted in connection to a deadly shooting in Southeast. Surveillance video shows 2 suspects police believe they're connected to a shooting death of David Washington. The 36-year-old's body was found early Tuesday morning in a home on Marionberry Avenue. A reward of up to $25,000 is being offered in this case.
Meantime, in Prince George's County, police are investigating a deadly crash involving one of their own. It happened September 9th in Kettering. Detectives say an 85-year-old woman and an on-duty officer crashed at the intersection of Campus Way South and Joyston Drive. The woman, identified as Janet Benthal of Largo, later died. The officer was also taken to the hospital but released. Right now, the circumstances of that crash is still under investigation. If you have video evidence or if you witnessed that crash, Prince George's County Police want to hear from you.
Now to the war between Israel and Hamas. Beirut and other parts of Lebanon rocked by exploding devices as Israel declares a new phase of the war. Walkie-talkies and solar equipment exploded in an apparent second wave of attacks. Targeting devices, at least 14 people were killed and more than 450 hurt in the second wave, according to the health ministry. The attacks are widely believed to be carried out by Israel, targeting Hezbollah. Israel's defense ministry today made no mention of the explosions, but praised the work of Israel's army, saying that the results are impressive.
Well, developing closer to home now, a student group is suing the University of Maryland over First Amendment rights. Students
for Justice in Palestine plan to hold a vigil on October 7th on the anniversary of the day Hamas attacked Israel.
DC News Now, Daniel Hamburg joining us live from College Park with the very latest.
And Daniel, what are you hearing from students?
Mark and Annalise, students are divided on this issue. Earlier this month, the university president sent out a letter saying that there would only be university-sanctioned events on October 7th. This comes after this summer. The Students for Justice in Palestine were told that they could hold an event here on McKeldin Mall, a vigil. Now, of course, October 7th is the day that Hamas invaded Israel and killed 1,200 people and kidnapped another 250. To the students in SJP, they see October 7th as the day that Israel started a genocide in Gaza, with more than 41,000 killed, according to Gaza's health ministry. In a letter on September 1st, UMD's president said after public calls to cancel events, police said there was no immediate or active threat. In the lawsuit, lawyers argue SJP and Jewish Voices for Peace were planning to have a vigil, educational activities, and interfaith prayers.
Creating a free speech blackout day for 24 hours on a high attention day to only allow institutionally controlled speech is inherently against our First Amendment.
The university is not providing anyone else with the platform to, like specifically the Jewish community, to do anything on McKeldin Mall. It's just going to be...
And again, we did ask the university for a response to the lawsuit. They referred us back to that September 1st letter from the university president saying, again, university events only on October 7th to promote reflection. We're live in College Park. Daniel Hamburg, DC News Now.
Today, a new budget airline is coming to Dulles International Airport. Breeze Airways is launching 4 routes this fall, actually, to Ogdensburg, New York, Provo, Utah, South Bend, Indiana, and Vero Beach, Florida. Breeze plans to add 2 new routes from New Orleans in 2025. The budget airline currently serves Richmond International Airport, but this is its first time serving the D.C. area.
Looking ahead, a public meeting will be held tomorrow for those who want to learn more about the phase-out of the D.C. Circulator bus service. The meeting is happening virtually from 2 to 3 p.m. and D.C.'s Department of Transportation is hosting it. And we're getting all the information online, so you can sign up if interested. Well, in Maryland, a popular Montgomery County restaurant is closing at the end of the month after being a part of the community for decades.
Yeah, Renato's in Potomac is known for serving up traditional Italian, Mediterranean, and seafood cuisines. Their last day will be September 30th after a new owner purchased that restaurant. Renato's ownership group, Potomac Restaurant Group, said in a statement to DC News Now, quote, "It had always been our hope that a buyer would purchase the restaurant as is, and transition to the new buyer would be fairly seamless. That is not how this transition will occur."
Well, game changer for international travel. Americans can now renew their passports online. That means no more mailing a paper application or making an appointment. You can even upload a photo and submit your payment online. This new option is available to adult passport holders whose passports expired within the past 5 years or will expire in the coming year.